Hello and welcome. I am Anna and this is a new episode of Project Co, the podcast channel of Efecto Colibrí. A channel inspired by words that start with co, community, consciousness, co-creation, co-evolution, and of course, Colibrí, which in Spanish means hummingbird. We have honest conversations with change makers to explore mindsets and initiatives for positive change. The stories we tell and the stories we listen to have the power to regenerate our perception of ourselves and others. Stories regenerate. This is why at Efecto Colibrí we produce and distribute podcast content to inspire you to create a more human reality in harmony with planet Earth. Discover more at www.efectocolibri.com. Luvuyo Rani, you're a visionary social entrepreneur. You are the founder and director of Silulo, a Cape Town-based IT services company with over 40 branches nowadays. You are driven primarily by the desire to empower township and rural communities by connecting them to the world of technology. In 2014, you were awarded one of the 10 outstanding young persons of the world, and in 2016, you were chosen as the Swap Foundation Social Entrepreneur of the Year. Luvuyo, welcome to Project Co. Such a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you so much, Anna. It's a privilege for me to be invited to be part of the conversation.
I have been very excited about this conversation actually because you're working on a topic which fascinates me, which is youth and the transition, the digital transition for inclusion. So many interesting and important topics, no, in just one sentence.
Yeah.
Tell me, what motivates you?
Well, I think start from when I went to university. It was the first time for me to touch computer. So I struggled in the early years of my university because instead of focusing around from a teaching point of view, I was struggling with the computers. And so that's one kind of like where the bulb started to be a problem. And then secondly, so after I finished at university, I started working as a teacher. So I was teaching commerce. So in South Africa, there was a new curriculum, which is like, it was more transition from the apartheid to a new kind of curriculum. So which is, the curriculum was outcome-based education. So it was more focusing around skill, teachers' skills. So computer becomes much more important for teachers to use it as a tool. Mm-hmm. So many of my colleagues that time were struggling to use computer. So I saw that as an opportunity and I resigned for being a teacher and I started selling second-hand computers to teachers. And after some time, I just realized that teachers were buying these computers, but they could not able to use the computers because they're not skilled enough. And I was thinking now that how can I address that problem? So I started opening first internet cafe in Khayelitsha, which is the second biggest township in South Africa. So hoping teachers will come in. But I realized that, once we opened internet cafe, people were queuing for us to assist them, to type for them, to assist them. And then that's where I realized like the digital divide in the community is bigger. And hence, there was a focus now in terms of bringing one-stop centers in the township, in the rural areas where we skill, bring access, bring connectivity, and link them to the employment, and then link them to entrepreneurship opportunities. So the story, it was like based on the opportunities and the challenges that was kind of coming from the past of the apartheid of South Africa, where the township were not being developed and where there was a kind of a need. It probably becomes much more worse now after COVID, the necessity of the work that we're doing.
Fantastic. Congratulations. How long have you been doing this work?
This year is going to be our 19th years now in September. So it's been 19 years now in making, where we it's been quite a change.
And so you started in one community, and how was your evolution throughout these 19 years? 19 years, it's a lot, huh?
It's a lot. The revolution and evolution was very difficult. So you must remember people where the town where we are started, they used to take a taxi to go to Cape Town. So they would take 40 kilometers to access to the internet. So now we bring the internet where they are. And then that time, the connectivity, I mean, they used to dial up, I mean, to ADSL. It has evolved now to broadband now, to, yeah, in terms of the connectivity and the speed of the internet. And also from the skilling, there were no kind of infrastructure. People were saying that township is dangerous. People are going to steal computers, are going to sell it, and then we are going to have a lot of crime. People are going to come and rob us for the computers. I mean, like there were many skepticism because what we've done something that no one have done it before. Because we bring in 45-seater center. I mean, 45 computers. Computer seat center, which is 25 for training, 20 for the internet. So that was kind of like not yet at all for us. So we have to educate the community. We connected. We partner with a local radio station to talk that time. And that time, I mean, like 2004, 5, 6, there were no mobile. So in mobile was not even kind of like a space. So we used to kind of think that we'll follow up with Microsoft vision of every household there's a computer. So we say like every household has a TV, so they must be have a computer. So we always think about we'll build up a 24-hour center. People can come in anytime, access to the computer, access to the internet. But we realize that over time, the best thing, let's scale it up, opening it in many towns, in many rural areas, so people to kind of like can able to access. That's where we started. I mean, scaling. It took us 5 years to get the model right. So I think by 2010, it's only then that we saw the scale up now. I mean, we're still on that phase of scaling up.
Wow. So, which were the main challenges that you faced?
There were many challenges. I mean, like it's challenging in the beginning. It was more funding because I mean, when I left teaching, so I was in trouble in terms of paying the bond, the house. So I was blacklisted. So I could not able to get the funds. Even my brother and my partners. So we are not eligible. No bank was able to give us funds. It took us more than 5 years to clean our name for that now. So we could not grow for that. And I think what we've learned from that early, it was learning around leverage. You use what you have and not kind of allowing the circumstances, situation determined with you now. So what we do, we went to schools, we do presentation with teachers. We do the presentation in the afternoon or in the break times where teachers come together. We used to carry those big, monitors, put in and showing them. And then what we encourage them, we encourage teachers to form umgalelo, which is stokvel or savings, saving clubs of buying themselves computers. So this month we deliver to teachers. So we'll group teachers in 6, so they like it because they work together. There's much more loyalty. They pay to a fund so they can get there, and there's no interest in that. So it was first fund for us to able to buy and sell these computers. And then when we started Internet Cafe, we also didn't have funding. We went to a supplier. We asked for give us computers and stock, and then also ask old men to put the tables and the chairs. And it was just like leveraging on what we have to build what we have now. So as we wanted to have Internet Cafe, so that was we didn't have money to open Internet Cafe. We went to suppliers. We asked them to give us stock, and then and also the computers to start. The center, and we asked old men to put the tables and the chairs, and we kind of leverage. For partners that we be buying. For them, but it was not even easy. Even after, we didn't make money. We kind of finding ourselves in trouble for sometimes. It took us probably 2 years, and then we enter entrepreneurship competition. We won the best entrepreneur. They give us a grant, and we use the grant to invest in the business. And then that's how we started. And then there was a philanthropic ventures from UK. They were coming to South Africa to look for social enterprises, and they loaned us R500,000 at 5% interest. That was the first fund. And then second, after 3 years, we paid the money. We went to Betha Foundation. So Betha also was like funding social enterprises also at 5%. And after that, we were kind of looking at growing the enterprise, but we realized that our growth cannot grow us as the founders of the organization. So we identify some staff members in the organization. So the staff, they used to be a student, and then they become eligible now. They becomes where we started with giving them opportunity to own franchise, to own some of the stores. So we started with the 12. I mean, we have 12 staff members who own about centers. I mean, like 4 of them could not able to kind of like continue because it was difficult to move from being employee to an entrepreneur. But 8 of the staff members now are still owning the franchise, and they investing in other businesses, and in the way that we allow them to have access to capital. We've been able to kind of went to the funders to fund them. So now they are in the different space now in terms of like where, I mean, they are in a space now where they are more liquid. They can go out and, I mean, look for funding now. So that's how the social enterprise. And then we went to also to other internet cafes, old internet cafes. We asked them to, I mean, able to use our model and then invest around that, and then we use them as a franchise. So that's how we evolved. We evolved by also giving others an opportunity to extend that. It becomes a way that we're using a model, not only to digital transformation, but also entrepreneurship opportunity that we're giving them so that they can also earn and be able now to be part of this movement that we're creating.
Wow, Luvuyo. I believe this is a huge story of perseverance. 5 years, no, with no money, just working and being super frugal and really like collaborating and inspiring others to join you to this in this movement. This is really like something that is not so, I'm not so used to listen to this kind of stories, no, because sometimes we see like people who are creating a lot of impact, no, and people who have been successful or are now like regarded as successful, and it looks like it all it happens much more easy, no, really gives us hope to say, okay, it's worth it. Let's continue fighting for what we believe in.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like, I'm just like sharing the part because it's a different parts, because they're quite interesting thing that in the last 7 years that as we scale now, we grow. So part of the challenges that we face. So we dealing with the communities where there's high unemployment, high inequalities, high poverty, issues around health, so social ills. So we are in the cold face of the communities. I mean, our offices are in the where people sees like there's no future in these areas. So and you must understand those areas were designed by the apartheid as a dormitory for black people to become a labor. So it was not designed to be economic hub. So it was not meant that there could be more economic hub now. So when we were growing, we faced some challenges. I mean, like I still remember 2015, we had the biggest robbery in our offices. I mean, there's nothing, there's no cash, there's nothing in the office. I was sitting with the finance guy and one of the ladies in the boardroom. So I saw 2 guys, and one had a mask, and then one's got a gun, and they put us, I mean, on the floor, and then they checked some computers, they checked some phones, and they searched us. They went through others that came in, they went through every room, traumatized the staff members. I mean, like it, and then they took some computer, they put them in a car, and then others they walk in now, and that violated me, and that made me to be sick. I mean, because I always believe that I'll build a 3-story building for many young people to see from me that that was violated. So I have to move where I help people to be in a different space, and it was a challenge in the sense that the community were praying. They wanted me to remain, and they really see the value. But the criminals, I mean, kind of like, so whilst we're moving in a different location, we're trading. The following, I think 2017, we had a fire in our office. So everything we had, it was destroyed. I mean, I mean, the awards, sentiments, it was destroyed on the fire. I didn't even know what could be the fire, what caused me today, but we managed to get the insurance to pay back. And then we moved to a different space And then we wanted to buy our own space now, our own head office. So there was a call center, it was being sold, and then we bought that call center through the funding, to the funders. So what was funny enough, the Friday before we make a payment, so I was traveling to support the store. So I received the email. Someone intercept my emails, want to come to my emails, but they were kind of like the firewalls. Man, I think that they kind of managed to pick up that someone wants to open my emails. So when the following week when I'm coming back, so I get a call with my PA that we've been hit. It's like, what do you mean be hit? He said that the money that we were supposed to buy the property, it went to the wrong bank. So someone gave instruction to the finance department to pay on this account. And the same, account, but only as you can't even notice that it's a different. So money was gone. So I was coming back, a 2-hour flight, longest flight, thinking how I'm going to able to have money to pay for for the loan that I didn't own. So it took us 3 months, but because of the bank in South Africa so strong, so the money moved to a different bank, a net bank, to FNB, and it was transferred by someone who was working in the call center. So they tried to understand how you can earn 10,000, but you have got this 3 million rand of the money. So they kind of freeze the amount and then investigate. That's how we manage. It was kind of a relief whilst we kind of like 2019 now, we start looking at this thing, and then one of the stores, they called me, they said, Mister, there are two guys in the store. So the guys are saying, we've been hit for several times, but we don't take notice. So the guys, they are saying now, they want us to pay money for extortion or protection fee. Because of the criminals, they take it over now. So everyone is paying money and we're not paying. And I refuse to pay. I said, I can't. I work so hard to empower the community, but how can I pay for criminals? For what? So they say that we don't kind of discuss it. They want money and then try to close it, but they come back, traumatize the staff. We have lost about 5 staff members. They come in, they steal, they close, they clean up the store. So whilst we're in 2020 now, we finding, and then COVID hit. So COVID hit, we were in trouble now in terms of closing 2 of our stores in incubator. We closed it and retrenched about 30% of the staff members. But it was a kind of a new birth for the business now, and we evolved from there. And then that's kind of like saying that probably what I'm seeing, it's in areas that there's no, where the areas where there are limited resources, where there's poverty, you face so much challenges in those areas. But it needs some much more the resilience, thicker skin to deal with these problems. Because once you've got the resilience, you're able to deal with anything that comes in. And that's how we manage now to kind of like pivot through those challenges.
Totally. I was listening to you. A question comes to my mind because right now, all the challenges that we're facing on a global scale and how we're still dealing with most of the challenges, basically applying old solutions to problems which need new solutions, no, and new mindsets and new heart sets, basically. I was wondering, like, because I see in this resilience that you're talking about and this keeping up the good spirits, no, and the positive vibes and the belief, actually, the belief system and the capacity to prioritize what you really value when you go into these communities which have problems which are of a dimension that somebody in Barcelona could not imagine unless you are a refugee that just arrived. How can you convince, or how can you explain and communicate to people who are really struggling, to survive, that what you do is a way out? Why do they believe in you?
There's a kind of like a history and context, like maybe let me take from South Africa. So it's a country which is like liberated in 1994, 21 years now liberations. So I regard myself as the first generation after the apartheid. So I can't fail. There's more for me to come. There's more young people are looking up to me, because if I succeed, it's not succeeding for me. I succeed for the others. To extend that they kind of say that against all odds, all the obstacles, all the challenges, we've kind of, we could make it through those challenges now. And it's kind of a story saying that, the success of any enterprise organization, you will find obstacles around that. And Nelson Mandela talks about the mountains, that you climb the mountains, and you think that you finish the mountains. There's more mountains that comes in now. So it's part of the journey. It's part of the evolution. It's part of the transition now. Like if I talk about from a global south, talking global in terms of everyone now, in the sense that we are in the space now around the world where there's no hope, there's no leadership. We're looking out for kind of people that can be emulated. And just like saying that everyone everywhere in the world, if we do our part and we do it with building on a daily basis and do what we do and we do it in our best abilities, we build something. We are going to like, instead of like taking our eyes to someone, to the politician or some kind of the system that we're trying, like just let's building. Building is not an easy thing. Building is a difficult thing. And this world now, we need more builders. We need more people that are going to come in now and are going to work so hard and not just become distracted by anything that comes in, just focusing in terms of your vision to make sure that you achieve what you want to achieve.
Beautiful. Beautifully put, Luvuyo. And what can you tell us about some of the cases and how the reality evolves in one of the centers?
So we've got quite interesting. Like in stories that we've got it. One of the student. He came. He was volunteer at one of the school. He came to the computer course with us. So he used to come every day for 2 hours for 6 months course, and then he received a certificate for computer course. Where he was competent enough. After that, he came back to do the office admin, so that he could work in the office. Whilst we were doing office admin, he was like volunteering at the school. They were giving him probably 1,500. Over time now he's telling us now, he's been employed as a secretary of the school and is getting probably up to 20K now. So the life and the change for him, and he's like speaking so highly that through able to do the digital skills with Silulo, now he's in a position to earn and contribute at home. So we've got kind of individuals that are finding employment in a different one, in call center, retail space, in government department now. But also we've got many small businesses who solely depending from us, from a connectivity, from skilling, from compliance, and is able to access. They depending on us in terms of doing their tenders, they are in a proposal, also just running their businesses because they don't have infrastructure and it's quite expensive for them to run at their own space. They prefer to come in because we are kind of like cheaper, but cheapest in fact ever, for just can come in for an hour using a cafe with us now. So we've got kind of like impact in the different skilling entrepreneurship part, but also many students who are studying in the community where there's no computer, or there is computer but not enough for everyone. They come after school using our centers to do their assignment, to apply it to online. Also we're also having some individuals who are getting disability individuals are getting grant from government. But instead of going to the government offices to chew, they will come to us to assist them online so they can apply for their grant and get their IDs and get, they are part of the pension now. So the part of the digital transformation now, it's kind of become a space of the center which assists the community at large.
We have looked back 19 years, thinking of the next 19 years. What would you like to see?
Yeah, which is like, quite interesting now. As from the 1st of March, I transit from CEO of Silulo now. I'm working on Silulo Foundation now. So, which means that I'm focusing now with entrepreneurs. So, because I realized that with the economy that is taking place, the economy now, which is not growing now, and the impact of the technology and the impact of the AI. So, the future in Africa, in everyone, it's on entrepreneurs. So that's how I see that part, because I've done it and I know it. And so now I work with entrepreneurs through, on a 10 months program which, the 2 months it becomes a boot camps, 4 months mentorship. 4 months, 3 months is more consulting, and also linking them opportunities and creating a network space, and also looking for funding to fund these businesses. So we've got, the first cohort started in February with about 30 entrepreneurs. Now I'm recruiting the next cohort now. Yeah, for the next one this year, I'll probably support about 80 entrepreneurs. So in the next 10 years, what I'm seeing on the next 19 years, so what I'm seeing as our centers, it's an evolution from being the hub space or the tech space that they have to become a career and a business space, so that the young people can walk in, get the skill, find employment. Or the young people can walk in, they can start their own businesses, and they're able to be fully assisted in terms of how can I begin start my businesses, what I need to understand, what skill do I have it, what's interest I need to do it. Even working with the partners around the communities who support businesses, so we can able to manage the entire ecosystem where we work at.
Wow. So you're basically like doing it from the communities for the communities, because you're like enabling the communities which didn't have access to the internet at the beginning, then training them, giving them access to the community, giving them access to internet, to the knowledge, no, and how to use these tools. And now on top of it, adding the startup dimension, no? So you're going to support these people to build their businesses, no? Or are they going to be startups from the communities, or are the startups going to be from all over South Africa?
So we started in one community where we started Silulo, started with Kaidi Shadam, and then we will scale it. So we'll take it every center across Silulo, even beyond, and even beyond South Africa if we scale it, and where we can scale it now. So that when we kind of like, because I could see that now to shift, a system shift in the community, you have to make sure that you work with the big businesses, the government, you work with the communities, and you work with all the stakeholders in order to address and shift it. But part of our solution now is no longer about skilling you, giving you access. Because we're not leaving you there, we're supporting you now, so that we can make sure that you find employment, you earn, or you start your own businesses in the communities, you support the communities. And the program is meant for those who have business, or those who are thinking, I'm thinking of maybe I might become interested in the entrepreneurship. The program is meant for those individuals. We give you 80-step tool to say how to raise a business, how to set up a website, how to go about it in terms of getting a logo, letterhead, how to understand that operational manual, finance, all the basics, six elements of the businesses we embedded in the program.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And you mentioned something which is very interesting, which is the coming together of different actors, no, private sector, big companies, and governments, and so on. Do you see there is more openness now than there was 5 years ago? And do you see there is a currency or a tendency towards that cross collaboration of different sectors?
Yeah, no, I'm seeing that, and it's quite encouraging in terms of like, context of the province, because I'm not probably at the moment doing nationally, so there's much more appetite from the premier, from the MEC or ministers in the region to able to engage around the township economy. They're realizing that the informal areas is the future of Africa. So there's appetite to understand what is in the township. How can we get involved now? So the government, the university, there's appetite to do some research now to understanding in terms of data around the township. The big businesses, in terms of their services, their product, and their partnership, their collaboration, they are so much interested to kind of like to understand, like in terms of what are the opportunities of the, because they are saying that township are the same in Africa. If we manage, understand the world, we'll understand every part of Africa, that how the Africa is like, works around that. So there's interest now, and there's interest around community now, of not being becomes a recipient, but becomes a participant, and say how can we able to kind of collaborating around that. So there is that kind of I think, and it's still early stage, but I believe that through the work we will probably able to be influential, even shifting the policy of the government in terms of how government's supposed to service the poor. That's how my interest in terms of like my legacy is not going to be how many center we have, how many region we have. It's like how I'm having my voice in the table and able to contribute to discourse of servicing the poor of the people and open up opportunities for many young people.
How would you like to serve the poor?
For me, it's something that I do on a daily basis. And I did it, because I come from a poor. My mother was running it. She was a domestic worker. She only had to grade 5. My father was a male nurse, and we have to change our lounge dining room to create a shebeen. So I come in dirty space where I use as 10-year-old supporting the kind of like customers. But our house was being seen as a kind of a lowest house where I grew up. So I'm a product of no one sees something can come in. I'm a product that our house was not seeing that it can produce anyone like myself that I can come in that space. I'm a product where I finished high school. I could not have money to study further because the shipping business was no longer working. My mother was depending on my father. My father was like half of the money was paying bond. So he could not able to support 4 boys and my mother. So it was kind of a space where me have to go to university first for all my brothers waiting for me to finish so that they can come in. It ended up the second brother being involved in drugs because of the depression, because of the situation where the poverty comes in now. So the pain of the poor is something that I live with, something that I understand, something that is me, something that like if I've got any opportunities, I know that I'm carrying so much many poor people that with me. So I don't do just because of I feel I'm a Samaritan, because I know in terms of like no one can save the poor except the poor themselves, realizing that they have to save themselves.
Wow. Okay, this is very interesting because then we come into the conversation of me as an empowered human being who looks for the opportunities and develops this will to act and to follow my intentions. There is systemic oppression and people who have less privilege. How do you balance this? Because now you have shared you come from a not at all privileged context, from a poor context, but look where you are right now. So what would you tell other people to first motivate them or us, no, and then to act upon those values in a way that really make an impact, a positive impact?
Yeah, I think for me, just to say, and caution, and also look from a history that, the this mentality of from the West or from the privileged that say we know it all. We've done it in our countries, we've done it anywhere, and you bring it in the context of Africa or context of developed world and say this is how you're supposed to do it now. That is not working. That's why the money has been pumped in, is not yielding any results. And then ask yourself, the money has been put in, but people are still poor in that regard because it's kind of a superior kind of mentality that I'm the Messiah and I'm saving you. So I'm telling you that what you want, not understanding who you are, where you come from now. So the mentality has to be in a humble mentality, which able to come and learn and understand and hear other side and say how can we work together to address this, like, because I need you, you need me, so we can able to kind of like achieving this work now. So the work, it cannot be done by same mentality of like it has to be done through truly collaboration without power, where we coexist to solve the systematic problems in a different way now, that able to put people at the center, not our organization, our needs, our brands, just put people at the center. So that's how I see that, we could change. So, identify the actors in the local, work with them because they know it, they understand it, and they can, but don't come as if you are superior than others because you come from a best school and you come from a kind of best kind of companies, and this is how things are happening. No. In fact, if you come with that mentality, stop it. Don't even come. Let people be in their own ways, because I don't think so anyone asked you to come. Because I think it's like people, you may think that people are poor. I mean, they are fine where they are now. But if really, it's just humility. That's how I ask in terms of humility, to able to work together, because we have solutions that we have it. We might not have enough funding to become addressing like the entire Africa problem, but it cannot be able just to undermine us because you think that you speak a better English than us. No, it has to be a way that understanding that we need each other. We can solve these problems together in an equal footing.
Totally, totally. I completely agree. But it sounds very easy, but then when we look at it in a systemic way, it is very complex because there's so much ego going on and so much bias, no, of what we have believed that we are. And even there's so many, the most privileged people don't even know that they are privileged, So it's like a,
No, you're right. I think also, it also been spoiled by our leaders. African leaders, they've been also compromising, to extent that not able to kind of telling it as it is. So they take it. And also it's been probably compromised by the greed, corruption, self-interest. All of those things makes even those privileged to think that they steal because they are not being questioned. They're not having a hard conversation, because someone, when I see you, I see money. It's like I see my Christmas, whereas it doesn't work that way. When I see you, I see an enabler, a collaborator, a partner to able to achieve what we want to achieve.
totally. Because yeah, totally. That's interesting, no? Because right now, you tell me, when you see me, you see money.
Yeah, I'm saying, when you see, European, you see
Somebody
money, you
white.
see money comes to mind. Because that's how
Yeah,
it's been positioned.
yeah,
You see that, and anything that will come is like, Mother Christmas is going to give me and
see.
solve all the problems. No, you see, that mindset is just gone, because we have to see human beings that we want to
See.
kind of work towards a common goal.
Very, 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 very insightful, really. Because, bueno, just for the record, I'm not, well, I don't have money,
Yeah,
like I'm an
yeah,
I wish,
we are
I
safe.
wish, but it's
We are safe. We are safe.
yes, I mean, come on. Pero bueno, it's fun. See,
Yeah,
it's fun.
yeah.
No, really. Thank you so much for sharing, and congratulations for all the positive impact that you are creating, and for what is still to come. No, because you have really managed to transform um, those communities who didn't have access to internet, which in Spain also happens. Before I worked in rural areas, and there are many rural areas who don't have access to internet in Spain, and it is happening because the big corporations who do give us like access to the internet do have they don't have interest in going to those little and remote communities because it's no enough money. Exactly. So I suppose the same problem
Yeah,
happens
that's
in
it.
South
It
Africa
is.
now.
It's all about infrastructure. It's all about returns on the investment, because they put so much. Around that, and then they want to get the investment. Hence, they will go to areas where they will see them. So it's about money. That makes part of that.
It's about money.
Hmm.
Maybe we should just start to shift what we value, no? And in the system as we have believed it and created it, it is more a system of it's a very utilitaristic system, no? And therefore money comes first. If what we value is material, then maybe we should start shifting there.
Yeah, it's just like a system of pure capitalism, which has become the problem, because it's one winner take it all, and then the poor becomes like the problem. That the fact that all the problem that we're finding ourselves is a system that is not, so it has to system of like social economy, solidarity economy, which put people's first more than the money, and the environment first now. So we need that system, and that system is needed now, because the world is kind of like where it's going now. It's kind of like we're destroying ourselves in our own way, because it becomes a selfish greed that we all just acquire, and not leaving anything now. Whereas we can all we can build, because we've got the money that comes in and all the resources that we have, it can able to kind of like distribute it, to everyone to be in a better position now. So it's just like the kind of like a different systems that we need to address the problem that we're finding in now. And I'm kind of like so happy with the UN resolution around social economy, that it's a shift that the government has to implement to understand that they need to have social entrepreneurs, because social entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to address some of the problems that are caused by capitalism.
Thank you so much, Luvuyo.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. You can find all the references of the episode on our website www.efectocolibri.com/proyectoco. If you liked it, rate us with 5 stars, leave us a comment, and share it with your network. This will help us reach more people and make social innovation become the norm. So in advance, a big thank you. If you have questions, feedback, or want to introduce us to a guest for the podcast, you can write us directly at ana@efectocolibri.com. See you next time.